I just want to obviously welcome you to the Fully Expressed podcast.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here.
Today we are diving into your goddess. Maybe we can talk about who your goddess is, and go into how to connect to your goddess.
Yeah.
This is a really exciting conversation for me because I'm about to do a goddess workshop at my retreat in November. So this is perfect. So I'm so excited. Tia, would you want to kind of tell us a little bit about why you love working with this topic and how you sort of help your clients or your students when they come to you?
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to. I think to me, it's a topic that's like at the heart of it all, the heart of us. Because I use the term goddess, and I know maybe many others use different terminology, priestess or, oh gosh, I don't know. I can't suddenly think of like other titles I've seen go by. But the way I look at our goddess self as this is our true self, our highest self, our soul, right? I look at things and what I share then with my students is there's your ego, your tonal, and then you have your soul, your nawal, your higher self, whatever you'd like to call it, which is all energy. It is all love. It is all pureness. People like to say it's all light. And to me, that's always felt personally like my goddess self. Like I felt at home with that identity and terminology. And especially to the degree also that I look at our soul, our goddess self, as we are the highest power in the universe. Now, I know for some, maybe that's like, they don't care for that. But the way that I view this is, okay, the universe is love, right? The universe is entirely made of love. Are we not a creation of that universe? Thus, we are pure love, right? And if all that exists is love, and the universe is love, and you are love, Carla, and I am love, like there is no separation. Where do you end and where do I begin? Those lines start to end where we are then just part of this beautiful state of love in the universe. There's a fabulous quote from Rumi I'm going to see if I get it all kinds of backwards. You are not a drop in the ocean, right? You are the ocean in a drop. So when I look at us as being our goddess self and our soul here, having this human experience on earth, right? It's like we've come here and we embody all of the universe within us, right? We're that ocean in a drop. We're all of that universe in a drop. It's as if, if we even think in physical terms, okay, like look at actually a cell in our body, physical cell in our body, right? More or less accurate statement, even though there's some new science talking about how maybe all of our cells don't contain all of our DNA. However, imagine, right, our cells contain all of our DNA, right? They have all of that information in a single cell. But we're then a unique expression, just as our cell maybe has a different role, a different dharma, a different mission, a different job within our body. We here are just different expressions of the universe. We're different parts of DNA turned on, just like different parts of DNA turned on in a cell to have a different experience in this life. But yet all of that's still within us. And so to me, this is like, wow, to its core, the foundational topic to then work with women and help them grow and step into their true self and their power, because it's not just stepping into, oh, I'm just me and my unique self. It's like, no. You are stepping into the power of the universe that is coming through you, that you actually embody. it's not this just little finite package where I've got, blonde hair and blue eyes. It's like, no, you're everything. You're everything. And this beautiful expression then can come through you. You have it all within you already. So then when we start to realize we have it all within us already, all of that love, all of that universe inside us, it becomes so much easier to start to trust in here, in our heart, and listen in here to our heart and listen to our soul, connect with our intuition, rather than looking all around us in the 3D world for the answers. Because then we realize that what is turned on in you in the 3D world, right? Your expression here in this journey, that's your expression, Carla, right? It's not my expression as Teal. And we start to then see that difference of like, your truth is not necessarily my truth. So I'm going to trust my truth because that's what the universe has placed in me. And so this is what I just love, love, love to talk about and help people explore, help women explore and start to connect with, because it's so powerful. And then it's everything dog piles on top of this, where women come to me and they're like, well, I want to raise my frequency. I want to manifest. I want to have peace in my life, better health, all of these things. And it all starts here with this conversation of awareness of self and our truth as our true self. Otherwise, everything else is just kind of on a house of cards. We can talk all day about then how to create other things in our life energetically, how to manage our emotions and all of those other things that create a beautiful life. But without that foundation, right, it doesn't stick, right? I'm sure you've seen that. Yeah, with all of your students.
Yeah, well, I guess it's easy to have, an intention or a desire, but if that desire is not at the same, energetic vibration, or it's not something that you actually believe, like, and feel, then it's going to become difficult to create a match, or to be able to even ascertain having that. Because if we are the universe and the universe is love, it reacts on the same frequency. So we need to be emitting that frequency of love and trust, and I guess that real belief that we are worthy of this thing that we actually want. Not just saying that we want more peace and joy, and then there's a program or a belief that's still running in the background that says, well, this is what I want, but I know I'm not going to get it because I'm not worthy of it, or I'm not good enough, or whatever that narrative is. So I think, and I guess the part where you and I both work in similar areas, because we work on helping women deprogram those stories and connecting back to their pure and authentic raw self. Because that you've got to come back to the beginning, really. And
for sure.
You and I have both had personal experiences where we've kind of hit rock bottom, and we've had to build up from the bottom. So I look at that as a blessing, because you've had an opportunity to crumble and dismantle everything, as have I, and you get to build fresh from the ground up. You get to reprogram all of your new beliefs, and stop buying into the stories of the past, or the stories of other people, or society, or whoever has created the story. So I think that's the most exciting part of the work that we do. And I think also for people that are on that journey of connecting to their true self and it's such a powerful and euphoric like stage to be in, because
Mhm.
you're going to learn so much about yourself and really come home.
Yeah, come home. That's beautiful. Yeah, come home. That's so beautiful. And the thing that can be, I think, a little challenging in this too is that, like with you and I, what really then pushed us into the journey was our pain, as you mentioned, like rock bottom.
Mhm.
And gosh, I look around at the world and I'm always just reaching out a hand and saying, please don't get to rock bottom. Please become aware and start the journey before you get there. Just everyone is on their journey. People experience their ups and downs. That's their journey. They get their lessons. They're all their opportunities and blessings. But I just wish others not to have that suffering, you know? So I just always am inviting, like, begin the moving now before you feel like you've painted yourself into that corner in that really challenging place of rock bottom.
Mm.
You don't have to wait to get there. Start now, you know, and it'll feel so much better.
I guess it's about getting to that point where you have to change something, because
Yes.
if you keep going, you're going to end up in a place that's going to perpetuate and become, probably really bad for your mental health
Mhm.
or worse. So yeah, it's like a fork in the road, and you have to make a choice. Do I want to keep going on this path and
Yeah.
sort of losing myself, or do I want to start to make a change and reconnect, rediscover who I am, and
Yeah.
heal some of these stories or these beliefs or these wounds. Like
Yeah.
healing your core wound is
Mhm.
a big part of the work that I do with my clients. And
Yeah.
like me, sometimes we don't even understand what our core wound is, and it kind of just plays on repeat in our life
Mhm.
until it gets really close to you, and it's like you have to do something. You
Right.
know, your experience that you shared with me earlier. It's
Yeah.
the universe will really put it in front of your face and slap you.
Yes, no kidding. It's like,
The point
well,
where
I threw a pebble and that didn't get their attention. Okay. Bigger rock. Oh, that didn't work. Okay. Cannonball boulder. Like, it just will keep trying to get your attention and our attention until we finally pay attention. And yeah, it's
yeah.
like, then it's really close. Absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess bringing the conversation back to our goddess self and the sort of the goddess energy, like where do we even start to try and connect to the goddess self, or
Mhm.
how can we start to do that?
Yeah. That's a really beautiful question. I take it to first what I call basically the first principle, which is I touched on as love. And so that connection expands, that
Mhm.
goddess self connection really expands with self love. And that frequency of self love then is such a high frequency. And that frequency then is the frequency of the communication that our goddess self is passing to us, that the
Mhm.
universe, source, divine mind is passing to us. So if we move toward that self love, start to open up that channel and really start to then hear and receive the wisdom. Like the wisdom is always there,
Mm.
but it's just we've got our fingers in our ears and our hands over our eyes, you know? And so to me, it's about cultivating first and foremost this understanding of what love really is, what self-love is and is not.
Mhm.
Because our culture has it all kinds of goofy and messed up and inside out and upside down from what the truth of pure love is.
Mhm.
And so to me, this is where to begin. That changes everything. That's laying a solid then foundation for all of the other avenues of growth. Um, and then after that, of course, it's expanding then into other explorations and the subconscious reprogramming to then shift the limiting beliefs, to shift the identity, mindset tools to bring safety and awareness into the body, regulating our nervous system, and of course, using ancient wisdom to help with all of that too, which is some of these things like, law of attraction and polarity and other principles that then just ground all of that loving frequency. But to me, it just always, I'm always sharing love is always the answer. And it sounds so doggone cliche. And I'm like, gosh, Teal, do you hear yourself? And I used to like, oh, you sound ridiculous. And I'm like, well, that's not self-love, but people can think and say what they want, but it's my experience that I've lived to find that this was my truth. And if that resonates with others, then great, it will be of service. But it's just taking that self-love, which all love is self-love.
Mm-hmm.
I will even go there. And talking about love, we're talking about unconditional love,
Mm-hmm.
which is very different than, of course, what our society operates at, what we even operate at in a daily base, which is actually very conditional love.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that love for ourselves is just like, wow, it's so powerful. That's even more like you talk about coming home. That's like that really, really coming home. So inviting, ourselves to question and ask, what does it really mean to love myself? What does it really mean to look at the world around us through just a vision of love, like a lens of love? What if I'm like looking right now at this computer screen and I'm like, this is an embodiment of love. What does that mean somehow? How can I see this in a loving way rather than an analytical way, rather than a what's in it for me, or is there something that's I'm going to judge or that's bothering me? Like love is not judgmental.
Yeah.
So it's starting to ask ourselves better questions about love and what it means, what it feels like, what it looks like, how we can choose it every day and reach for it every day and embody it every day and be it every day. And that's the needle starting to move. And what's so amazing is like this just becoming a practice in our life. It starts to become habituated and now it's our norm. And seeing the hinges then fly off the door with the communication we get from our goddess self and from our soul and from the universe. It's just amazing to me. I mean, I've experienced that with myself of just anymore. I just ask a question. I ask a question of my goddess self. Maybe it doesn't come immediately. It all comes in divine timing. But then I'm like, oh, bing, that was the answer. That was the message. Where you open this connection and you get clarity on your life. And it's like, wow, this is possible. This is exciting stuff. We start to stop feeling like we're confused and wandering around through life without knowing where we're going or what to do or if we're on the right path. And again, I go back to it's just the simplicity we're talking about. Things being easy, and it's a 4-letter word, and it's LOVE.
Yeah. It's interesting. You spoke about like putting on the let's say putting on your love goggles, but
Yeah.
also putting on your love goggles, putting on your love wetsuit of your body, because love is an emotion and a feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And And it's all well and good, I think, to have the vision of what it looks like, but to feel
Yeah.
love. And I think this is the really big thing for me personally, because my history and my sort of wounding was really being about being disconnected from my body. So
Mm.
for a lot of my adult life, I was numb and, trying to escape feeling. And for me, the coming home part is about coming home to your body, loving your body, and allowing yourself to feel love. When you start to accept all of the aspects of yourself, maybe when you haven't made the right choices for yourself and you've been hard on yourself, all of those little, things that you might tell yourself, or, I don't deserve this, or kind of just really sending love to yourself at that point for
Yeah.
how you perceived or how you used to think about yourself in that way. So I think it's really a sort of an embodiment of somatic feeling and
Hmm.
allowing that to fill you up. And when you have that feeling, it's like a really beautiful, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like you exude a level of confidence, and nothing really can sort of come at you.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really an important aspect and something that's deeply personal for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a beautiful way to put it. The love wetsuit. I love that. Yeah, I love that. And it's yeah, it's so great how you describe it, where the body is such an important part of it as well, because I think I often see um so many women who begin their spiritual journey and they start to think, ah, it's just all about the goddess self, the soul, right? Love and light, peace and love, right? All of like radiance, and it's like you have this body, this beautiful body, and it's here for a reason, right? The body serves the soul. So the soul is relying on your body to experience those feelings, right? To do the work in the earth, to do all of this evolution and growth and to feel all the feels, feel
Mm,
all the emotions, the highs, the lows, the loves, and everything in between, which creates those feelings are the catalyst and opportunity for the growth that the soul is looking for to evolve to higher consciousness. And I think that's so important how you bring that up about, yeah, feel it here in your body. Cause we often I see just we get one way over the other into we're all gonna just get so into our soul and that's all we need. And I don't need this body and this ego anymore. And it's just kind of there. Like, no, bless this temple, this amazing vessel, this thing that is allowing your soul to do its work on the planet. Like it needs it, and that, yeah, I totally hear you. That's a beautiful point to make.
yeah. Well, I think it's about, you know, creating or sort of reducing the bridge of separation
Mhm,
from our body and our soul. It's
mhm,
about bringing them together and allowing them to work in harmony. I recently had a really beautiful healing experience at a retreat that I attended, and I was feeling every sort of emotion possible, but it was a really beautiful experience about coming back into my body.
mm,
At the end of the day, I looked in the mirror. I actually saw my soul, like in that sort of split second when it was almost like my soul and my body was in perfect harmony and they could understand and communicate and feel each other. Like it's just a really
yeah,
beautiful, euphoric thing.
yeah,
So I really believe that, obviously everyone talks about mind, body, spirit, but
mm,
it's a it really is a thing about, you know, creating that balance and creating that connection between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, even, you know, to me, it's even taking it into that spirit and mind are actually the same. And I look at the universe is consciousness. So our mind is consciousness. It's different than our brain, which is actually biology and physical. And so it's just this amazing thing of our mind and consciousness in harmony with our body. And I think too, like if I share a quick little story, so okay, I'm a mom, first time mom. I've got a 22-month-old little daughter. She's amazing. But my journey to bring her into this world was an at-home birth, right? All natural childbirth, no medication. I used hypnobirthing. Um, Absolutely amazing and beautiful experience. And I say this with absolute integrity and honesty and truth. Zero pain.
Like, can
Zero
you
pain.
hypnobirthing?
Hypnobirthing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is basically using, we have, well, like everything, we have so many stories about birth and childbirth. And um, everything, at least in US culture, and I imagine to a degree also in Australia, is very focused on how birth is a medical event. Birth is often, you go to the hospital, you have an OBGYN, you have this, you have that, you get an epidural, all these things. You have all these interventions and processes that engage throughout the process of the birth. There's a lot of terminology that comes along. Labor,
Mm-hmm.
pain, these expectations of what birth looks like, and it's seen on media, on movies, women pushing, having a challenging time, a lot of effort and yelling and pain and
Yeah.
bodily fluids, right?
A lot of people off.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So this is what we've been taught to believe. This is what I grew up understanding birth was like for the most part. But what hypnobirthing taught me was that the perception, the perspective that bringing a child into the world is a natural experience, as natural for women as breathing and our heart beating, right?
Mm.
Do those things hurt?
No.
No, right? So if this is a natural function of our body that we are designed to do, beautifully blessed to be able to do this, why would it hurt? And
Mm.
so that's the premise really with hypnobirthing, and in order to change those limiting beliefs using self-hypnosis and other hypnosis tools to reprogram our subconscious mind and eliminate that fear. Because where does pain come from unless it's actually a like something's really, really wrong kind of pain, you know? Pain comes from tension. It's this philosophy that pain comes from tension. And so if the mother is in fear, fear sends chemicals throughout the body that then signal flight or fight response right in the nervous system, in the sympathetic nervous system. So the body then responds to that with tension and preparation to do battle, right? Now the body's in tension. Well, what does a mama need to give birth? Loosey goosey, right?
Yeah.
No tension. That's the last thing you want. So now if you are trying to work against tension, there's pain.
Yeah.
So this is the premise of hypnobirthing, that basically you just are removing the fear and allowing nature, working with your body, to bring the child into the world in a very relaxed, comfortable, calm state. And there's so many other things related to it with also how, you know, benefits for the child and the mother with not necessarily being in such a medical environment and medication and all of those other things. But that's it kind of in a nutshell. And so I did this, and you're talking to tie it back in, I go around Robin Hood's barn. to tie it back into what you're explaining with you saw your soul, like,
Mm.
to me, this was a huge evolution and growth for me, where it felt like I was with my soul,
Mm.
giving birth, because everything was so calm. There was no mental chatter. I was so relaxed. I was so at peace.
Mm.
And I just got out of the way, and my body did the work, and it was blessed with the energy and love of my soul. It's like
Mm.
I could just feel it.
Yeah.
People are always like, what? But to try to explain these things, this is where words start to fail us as we try to explain these beyond our 3D world things, where we're into the 5D. This is the spiritual, the esoteric, the essence, but like, how do you explain these beautiful things, right?
Even as you were saying that, you don't even need to tell me, because I felt how you were feeling. It was
The
like
energy.
this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it would have been an absolutely beautiful experience.
Yeah. And
Not what we, I guess, society's painted it to be.
yeah. Yeah. And I feel so blessed to have that, because to me, these little glimmers, I think, like you have, and that I have, and that we get more often, of that goddess self soul connection, and they're tied to an experience or a story. And I'm like, oh, these are our power stories.
Mm.
These are our power stories. And I think women are having them all the time, but maybe just not noticing them. That's been my observation, where then, oh, you actually have an example and proof in your own life of just how powerful and connected you actually already are to your
Mm.
goddess self, but we're not looking for it, so we may not see it, right?
Mm.
Yeah, we don't have that awareness. And it's like, oh, look for that proof in your life to then fuel that journey and that connection
Mm.
with our true self and our goddess self, because they're there. And so I just always love to encourage everyone to just, wow, just open that awareness and be curious. Like, when have you had a situation where you felt something a little different? Be curious and ask, like, what was going on there? Like, those little moments. Wow, that is so powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think those little moments are your kind of your soul pulling you deeper.
Mhm,
And it's almost like little moments of evidence, Sometimes I think we think that good things can't always happen more than once. When you manifest something and you're like, oh, that's amazing, but I can't do that again. It's the sort of, obviously, the doubt and the fear and everything coming. So I think
mhm,
you and taking those beautiful moments and allowing them to build and
mhm.
create other moments is
Yeah,
going to create a deeper connection to your soul and your goddess self, because
yeah,
everything compounds,
yeah.
and that's how your journey evolves.
Mhm,
So I think really, yeah,
yeah.
watching out for those moments, and being aware of them when they actually arrive and show up in your life, and be grateful that you've
Mhm,
had, like, I'm so deeply grateful for that experience and everything else that's happened before and after that.
mhm.
It's, yeah, then your mind maybe starts to come in and say, oh, that's just a one-off thing. So it's about
Yeah,
trusting that it's not, and that it gets to be that amazing and that beautiful when you start to connect to your soul.
right,
Yeah.
right. And I mean, it can even be in this awareness and growing awareness, is like, keep a little journal
Mm.
and jot those things down. Or it can even be like, oh, wow, that's something I'm especially grateful for. Like, jot those things down. You're building and exercising that frequency muscle, that spiritual muscle, that love muscle, that connection and intuition muscle, as you write that down, because that is placing awareness that talks to your brain with the reticular activating system. You're saying, oh, okay, I see that I have
Mm.
had this experience. okay, and now I'm grateful for it. That's amazing. What is here for me with that experience? Your brain starts to pay attention to those experiences and look for more of that proof in your life. And it's this beautiful, like self-fulfilling prophecy and spiral then of, oh, more proof of these little glimmers and good things in my life that then is helping to subconsciously reprogram you over time with that self-acceptance, that self-love, that changing limiting beliefs of like, oh, things are working out for me. It's not just like this fluke or one off.
Yeah.
And it just like, yeah, it gets on this roller coaster ride. It just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and building. And it can start with just this one little small thing. People don't have to make these big awareness.
Yeah. And I think that's it. It starts with all the small things. The small things are what starts to create a change.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's happening is subconsciously you're creating new stories and
Mm-hmm.
new belief systems. And I feel like I'm on that roller coaster right now of everything kind of is just working out for me.
Yeah.
And at the beginning, I was like, oh, this is nice, but can it continue? I was probably challenged myself. And then ever since, the universe is like, yeah, you know what, it can. And it just keeps giving me these little bits of evidence and love to show me that it can continue and it doesn't have to end with one little experience. That your whole life can be a beautiful expression of giving and receiving love. And at the end of the day, that's what it comes back to.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously emitting and being with that frequency of love like we spoke about, and then in turn being able to receive love and be able to feel love.
Mm-hmm.
And if the universe is love and we are love and everything else is love, then it becomes so much more easy to attract and welcome in the things that we love. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just like this beautiful, I don't know, like spinning cycle of
Yeah.
love. So
Yeah.
it becomes so much easier.
Totally. Like I always think about it like an infinity symbol. Like it's always going, and what goes out is coming back in. And so your love for yourself, and that's going out into the universe, and the love is coming back to you. And staying in that love for yourself then allows you to receive the love, right? Because I know, I mean, for me, even as much as loving myself, it's like hard to receive love, right?
Mm.
You want to say that's that worthiness again. Like, nope, not worthy. Oh, yeah. You tell me, oh, you look beautiful. You're wearing that lovely dress. Oh, this old thing. Like it's just like we're so good at pushing away rather than just, thank you. I received that, and so it's that more we love ourselves and the more we receive. And it just, it's this beautiful, continuous loop of good stuff.
I love that you use the infinity symbol because that's kind of the perfect way to describe it because it is infinite. Love
Mm-hmm.
is infinite. And I think that I forgot what I was going to say, but it was something about love. It'll come to me. But yeah, I think that's a beautiful sentiment of the infinity symbol. And I think at the end of the day, we give so much of ourselves and our love out to others. But like you said, sometimes we kind of put a guard up when it comes to receiving, or we don't actually believe that we are able to receive or hold what is actually, what we are attracting and what is coming to us. So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's part of the subconscious, breaking down the beliefs of the subconscious, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, for me to start with that receiving, because receiving is then loving ourselves as well, allowing that love and recognizing that worthiness, right? Like you're saying, is just saying thank you, right? Just say thank you and mean it. Open-hearted thank you. And that's it. That's all you have to do. Just say thank you, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Is there anything else that you want to share before we sort of wrap up this podcast episode?
Oh gosh, there's always a zillion things to talk about, but no, this is such a beautiful conversation, such a beautiful conversation. Thank you. And I just would leave, I guess it just kind of, everyone has heard this, I think, ad nauseum, but it really does all start with awareness, you
Yeah.
know? And I think just allowing ourselves that ability and space and grace to have the awareness and love on ourselves, give ourselves the grace, because with awareness, sometimes we may see things about ourselves that we have been ignoring because we don't really like them about ourselves.
Mhm.
But love on it. Love that part of yourself. And this is the work. It's not happening just right now, today. Like it's our life. It's a forever journey. So
Yeah.
golly, I just always inviting everyone, don't be hard on yourself. That's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah.
Absolute last thing you want to do. And just give yourself so much grace and a big hug.
I think that's really the key is, I think even in the healing journey, we put so much pressure on ourselves to get to the final destination of peace and enlightenment, but it's not about the destination. It is
Mhm.
about the journey and what you learn on the way. And it is the most incredible, amazing, heartwarming, opening experience that
Mhm.
we get to have. And I think that we really need to allow ourselves to enjoy. Yes, some of it is hard and, can be confronting because we have to face our shadows and, the aspects of ourselves that perhaps we've hidden or suppressed or we don't like. But the key is what you said is about giving ourselves love and giving those parts of ourselves love and compassion and kindness and forgiveness
Mhm.
because we are human, having a human experience, and we are learning. We are always learning about ourselves and
Yeah.
just need to remove the pressure.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. We're
just,
right where we're meant to be. If we could be somewhere else, we would be there. We're right where we're meant to be, whatever that looks like with our journey.
yeah,
And be at peace with that. And yeah, then that pressure just melts.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, thank you so much. It has been such a pleasure to have you on the podcast and so lovely to chat to you. I feel your beautiful, passionate, and loving energy through the screen, and it's just been really lovely to hear your experience.
Well,
So,
thank you. Thank you. I am just blessed to be here. Thank you for the space to share and talk and bring some thoughts that I trust will land where they're meant to and assist as they're meant to. And yeah, just thank you so much for letting me be here with you in this time.
no problems at all. My pleasure. Enjoy your beautiful afternoon.
Thank you. I will. I will. And you enjoy your day. Make it a great day.
Oh, it will be a great day. The sun is shining, so I'm going to go.
Yay. Wonderful.
Thank you, Teal.
Okay.